Okay. Alrighty. Just get a little work done here as everything is populating. Got started on my stream and was immediately called upstairs. Find my kid. He's got a little road rash. He had himself a scooter accident. And it looks like he got his knee and his elbow real good, and he'll be fine. So, he's getting cleaned up, and then got the bandages ready. And, yeah. Now I can start the stream. Haven't been able to stream this week. I've been busy. Got, what do you call it? Got my honey-do list going on. And we had a heat wave here in Wisconsin the last couple of weeks. Last week. And I had to fix a fence post. And I had to build a planter bed that I've been wanting to build for a while. I wanted to get the planter bed done before, like, so we could grow stuff over the summer. Louie, how you doing? But that did not work out. So, but I got it built now, and it was 1,000 degrees outside. Between the fence post and the planter bed and mowing the lawn and getting the yard taken care of and everything, I was just wiped out. I couldn't stream at all. So, trying to get a stream in tonight before I get back outside and go back at it tomorrow. I don't know how much I'll get done tomorrow, but decent. Hands healing from getting your magnetic implant removed. You're allergic to the Band-Aid adhesive. Oh, that's no fun. You got any, what do you call it? It's called a steroid cream. Hydrocortisone. You got any hydrocortisone? Put a little on where the Band-Aid was. Should help. Or Benadryl cream. Do I make custom? I'm assuming, Nick, you mean pieces for people. Sometimes I make custom pieces for people. Just depends on what it is. There's a couple of requirements for custom pieces that I do, right? And that is, if you ask me for something that I know someone else makes better than me, I will point you in their direction. Also, it's got to be small enough, and I have to have the supplies on hand in order for me to do it. Just because ordering rings is something I'm trying to avoid right now. I'm trying to use up all my rings. So yes, sometimes I do custom pieces, but most of the time I direct them towards other chainmail artists. You do not use Benadryl gel, it's just 2 sutures? Yeah, okay. It was pretty miserable getting it cut out without lidocaine and digging around with hemostats. That sounds fun. Do I make jelly cubes? Yes. I have one right here that I'm working on. How you doing, Daniel? So I've got this one. I've got like 2 or 3 more that I've made. This is the nicest one. Like, the ring size for a jelly cube is very specific, and this is the nicest ring size I've used to make a cube. To really just get this wiggly structure. So yeah, I do make jelly cubes. But I started the stream and got called upstairs because my kid got in a scooter accident and had to make sure he was okay. He's all right. He will live. I was worried about him. Not from the accident. He'll heal from that. What ring size do I use on the jelly cube? So this is 18 gauge 18 gauge standard wire gauge, 1/8 of an inch diameter, inner diameter, bright aluminum rings from chain-reaction.ca. And I believe that the aspect ratio is 2.7. This one, oh God. This is the one I'm going to raffle off, hopefully. I've got it started, and I've got this bag of rings to add. I think the closest, this is 16 gauge standard, no, 16 gauge American wire gauge. And the closest that I remember is 11/64. I don't remember how many millimeters it is. It's just shy of 11/64. Popping off, and I've been wondering where you've... Yeah, I was outside working in the outside, and I was just too exhausted to try and stream, and I was getting my butt kicked by my honey-do list, and I put in a fence post, and I made a planter bed, and I'll get back into a regular schedule. I've got a couple more outside things that I have to do. So, perfect. It's what you thought. You ordered some rings 2 days ago that size? Right on. But it's nice to see you, Louie. Hope you feel better. All right. You used to make a lot of chainmail, then became a goldsmith, now a realtor, and make bracelets. Right on. Right on. I've only ever done chainmail as far as any metal work goes. I was 14, I was reading the Redwall series, and I wanted to be a badger in a volcano, throwing herbs on the forge and hallucinating and making weapons, right? As the main character did in Salamandr's Run. But I never got to blacksmithing. My kid saw 2 episodes of Forge and Fire, and he hasn't stopped talking about becoming a blacksmith ever since. And he is of an age where we can do that sort of thing. So, like next year, we'll do like the Milwaukee blacksmith thing, and then they've got like a class. And then we'll get our own equipment. So, that, forging, blacksmithing, maybe one day. Bracelets for fun, it's therapy for you? Right on. I make a lot of bracelets, too. Yeah, there's classes an hour away up in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Blacksmith. And they have classes geared towards kids. So... me and my son at some point are going to go up and do that. And then I also live an hour away from Centaur Forge, which is like a farrier shop. They have like a bunch of horseshoes and coal forges and blowers, manual blowers. And so like I'm in a fortunate place to pick up that hobby. You're a beginner blacksmith? Right on. How are you doing, old Smokey? So right now my kid is attending a summer camp learning how to program video games. That is, video games have been a passion of his ever since he was handed a phone at 2 years old. And he's had a screen in his face ever since. So I'm hoping he will take a passion towards building stuff. Or creating. And he seems bent on learning how to become a blacksmith. So awesome. Check out some of your older videos if you want to see some of the stuff you make now. I can do that. I don't know how many older videos I have of old stuff. Mostly made out of silver and gold. I have not worked with gold. I'm looking forward to it. I have some silver. I've got a whole like upgrade to my little work area going on this year. You're learning from a Native American? Right on. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. how much is the one I'm making now? It's not for sale. Originally, it was intended as a gift. I'll show you the whole inlay. Give me 2 seconds here. So, the title of the stream is Finnegans Wake Inlay. Tim Finnegan lived in Walking Street. Right? But that's not who we're talking about. Finnegans Wake is also a book. Alright, here is for anyone over on X, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. Right? So you can see I'm doing the black trim around the edge. It kind of really pops on these corners here. I like it. Alright, so it says Finnegans. Then it says Wake at the bottom. And all the corners are done now. Right? And we just got to add dags across the bottom and loops across the top. Then I got some leather. I want to put a leather back on this so that if I ever have to like roll it up, it can be all protected and everything. But Finnegans Wake was a bar in Alexandria, Louisiana I used to go to. How much would it be for something like that? I probably have 300 to 400 hours in it, and it's 30,000 rings at this point. So, like 10 grand minimum. You know bro's cool because of the shirt he's wearing? Shrek is love, Shrek is life. There's actually a Facebook page called the United Church of Shrek over on Facebook. And that's their motto. Shrek is love, Shrek is life. And they share and talk about everything Shrek. And it's a very funny group. That's a wonderful gift. Lucky whoever gets it. So this is going to end up on my wall. The bar in Alexandria, it closed. I don't know why. So I was stationed at Fort Polk an hour away. I got stationed at Fort Polk. I deployed to Iraq. I lived and worked with everyone in my unit. I got back. I lived in the barracks, and I lived and worked with everyone in my unit. And me and a couple friends would drive to Alexandria. We'd go to the movies. We'd go to dinner. We'd go to the mall. And then we'd end up at Finnegans Wake. And it got me away from everyone that I worked with and lived with 24 hours a day, every day of the year. I was in the 115th Combat Support Hospital. I had to think about that. What have I done here? Yeah, I got to Fort Polk, and a month later I was in Iraq, and then I was a nurse. I was an LPN, and then eventually I got out of the military and I became an RN. But while I was there, I was an LPN. I was a licensed practical nurse, or some states call it a licensed vocational nurse. Same thing. Just depends on what state you're in. Old Smokey, you were a medic? Right on. Now, so the moniker, the title for nurses, it was, when I was in, 91 Whiskey Mike 6, right? And then 91 Whiskey was a combat medic, and a Mike 6 was the nursing identifier, right? 91WM6, okay? So I went through EMT training to be a combat medic, and then I went to an additional year-long school to become an LPN. So you're in the 173rd Italy and 2ID in Korea? Right on. My brother got stationed in Italy. He is in the Navy, and he was stationed on the island of Sicily. That was his first duty station, so he would go and like run around Europe, get a train pass, and just go everywhere. And he'd tell me all the cool places he visited. And then he was on a Mediterranean island, which sounds awesome. And then his next duty station was Kyoto, Japan. And after that, well, he's been in Japan for years now. I don't think he's coming back to the States ever, so. Yeah, Navy's down in Sicily, yeah. Now it's a 68 whiskey. Yeah. I think they changed it. So I think when I got in, it was it was a 91 Charlie for the LPN. Then it was a 91 Whiskey Mike 6. And then while I was still in, I'm pretty sure they changed it to 68 whiskey. And then I would have been a 68 Whiskey Mike 6 was my job title. Italy was a great experience. I'll bet. I would love to go to Italy. Italy has a couple of places I would like to visit because of an amazing art history teacher that I had. Probably the best teacher in college that I had, to be honest. I had to take art history as an elective, as a humanities, and they didn't really have anything I liked, so I took art history, and then I had an awesome time in that class. And I want to go to Florence, Italy, to see a whole bunch of stuff there. I will get there one day. My neighbor just went to Rome, and then a couple other towns in Italy. I can't tell him how jealous I am of him because he'll rub it in my face. Following you, like your work. Oh, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. My work is coming along. I'm currently going through all of my old projects that have been down in the basement for years. Like, this project started in 2005, 2006, right? I was trying to freehand it. This is what I'm working off of. This picture right here, right? And the color scheme is from a t-shirt they had. So, it's taken me 19 years, almost 20 years to finish this. Because I didn't have the skill to finish it. And I've made several improvements to it over the years. Excuse me. There wasn't a black outline over everything. So it looked like crap, to be honest. Am I using aluminum? Yeah. This is anodized aluminum from the Ring Lord. 18 gauge, 1/4 inch. The weave is European 6-in-1. Which was a mistake also. European 6-in-1, the rings are like two vertical pixels in height and then 1 vertical pixel in length, right? And that's a pain in the butt to make it look good. 18 gauge 5/32 is a ring size that gives you like a 1 ring to 1 pixel ratio. Right, and so that was a mistake I made. I didn't map this out in an Excel spreadsheet or the irregular grid painter or a cross stitch pattern maker, right? Which I should have. Would have saved me a lot of time. Do I make my own rings? I used to when I first started, but then I found the Ring Lord, and since then, multiple other chainmail ring manufacturers and suppliers. And they make much higher quality rings than what I can make in my house right now. And so I have been ordering rings for the last several years. But since I have a bunch of projects that are 30, 40, 50,000 rings that I'm working on right now, my goal is to have a coiling and cutting setup for my house by the end of the year because I need to cut down on cost tremendously. Do I use the guest boxes? No, I don't because I'm streaming to Twitch, X, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. So when I get to a point where I can use TikTok in Streamlabs, then I'll use the guest boxes. But if I pull up someone on a guest box, nobody else watching can see it, right? Do I mind sharing their info? The info of the suppliers? Is that what you're asking about? if you're, are you using Android or Apple? I can solve this problem real quick. If you're using Android. If you're using Apple, it's going to take me a few months to solve. Okay, you're using Android. All right. In the link tree in my bio is the MailWorks app. The Google link works. The Apple link doesn't because Apple's a horrible company and I hate them and I hate dealing with them. And on the back end, Google and Apple are both awful, but Apple's worse. Okay? Go to my link tree. Download the MailWorks app. There's a Discord. There's lists of suppliers. There's tool recommendations. There's charts for, well, I'm working on a couple of different charts right now. But there's where to find other chainmail artists, where they hang out. I sharded, followed the host. Shouldn't have read that out loud. Thank you for the follow. People's usernames are awesome. I love it. But yeah, go download the MailWorks app and then you'll have access to all of the resources that I know of. And I've been doing this for 28 years. So I found a lot of resources over the years. And then join the Discord. Come say hi. Or don't. It's up to you. You're very welcome. You make stained glass? Right on. Yeah, we're doing the finishing work on the inlay. So, okay. I'll give you an example. Finishing work in chainmail. Does this one have it? This one might not. I might have sucked at this one. No, okay. This is kind of an example. Okay. Normally, when I try to finish my necklaces, right? See those tiny little rings right there? I try to taper the ends down to like make the flow into the clasp look natural, right? With the bracelet that I did, okay, you'll see people have a clasp on their bracelet and they'll have like one ring attached. Okay? And I've got 3 rings attached. Just because it makes it look better. Right? But I see people do this in the chainmail community all the time. Usually beginners. And they'll have like this beautiful piece of chainmail that they made. And then where they connect it, it looks like crap. Okay? I try not to be too judgmental or harsh on anyone. But so with this inlay, we're doing the finishing work, right? And I don't know how much you can see in this lighting, but we're going around the edge with some black, right? And it really looks good on the corners, okay? It really just ties the corner off. And then at the bottom of the inlay, we'll do some dags, which are like these little triangular pieces that hang off the end of tapestries. And then across the top, I've got to make some loops for the dowel rod to go through. And then it'll be done. Because in the past, and this is me learning from my mistake. Mech, how you doing? Had a great week? I was sweating my butt off, man. I was dying outside. Excuse me. Inlays that I've done in the past were a sheet of chainmail that all you could do is just lay it flat, right? The last inlay I did was a Raiders flag, and I was like, okay, how can I make this look good, you know, so that my friend can put it up on a piece on the wall as a piece of art. And I got it figured out. It was the Raiders logo, the helmeted dude with the eye patch and the swords behind him. And then I put some loops across the top for a dowel rod to go through. And then I bought some decorative wall hooks. They were skull and crossbones wall hooks for him to hang it on. So he had the whole package. That's what I'm trying to do with this, right? Get the loops across the top, put the dags on it, get some decorative wall hooks. That's oh, and I'm putting a leather backing on this, right? No, I'm not going to sew it to the inlay or anything. It's just going to hang off the dowel rod as well, just so that it's like complete. Okay, and this is totally subjective. It's completely my opinion. You can do whatever you want. This is just what I think looks good. And I don't criticize other people for their stuff not looking great, because when I started out, plenty of my stuff looked like crap. So I just try to gently point people in a direction I think will help them. Does that make sense? So yeah, that's what we're doing. Finishing work on the inlay. So, holy crap, it's 9:07 already. I'm going to look at it now. Yeah, Ruthless, you're very welcome. Okay, so yeah, the Mailworks app is available on Android right now. It will be back up on Apple as soon as I can get it back up. And as soon as I have $200 to pay Apple, because it's costs money to host your app, right? And it's just a large list of resources for new and veteran chainmail artists. If your stuff looks like crap, you want to tell me... Hang on. If your stuff looks like crap, you want you to tell you so I can get better? Okay. I will do that. I don't want to, I'm not going to, like, try and make somebody cry because their stuff isn't up to snuff. You know what I mean? But what I try to do is praise in public and provide constructive feedback in private. So if you're getting a comment from me on a social forum, that's, usually means I think your stuff is good. If you're getting a message from me, I might have some thoughts. None of it's, I'm one person. My opinion doesn't matter. Like I said, I just try to point people in a direction I think may be helpful. I don't know if we're going to finish this edge in the hour I have. Well, I did start late. Okay. I did start late. Well, I started on time, and then my son crashed a scooter, and then I got back down here about 10 minutes later, I think. I don't know. Actually, I can tell you. Yeah. 29. I got down here about 10 minutes later. Anyway, so my week has been awesome. I don't understand why this is a thing, okay? I had a bunch of guys in high-vis vests installing fiber optic cable in my neighborhood, right? They're doing all the houses in my small town. And we already have multiple high-speed internet providers in our area, right? I was under the impression that fiber optic access was for places that need it, like rural areas that don't have access to AT&T or whatever, right? Is that not what it's for? Like, are they just putting fiber optic into all these towns for a reason? What? What? No. Do I think this would feel good as... Yenner, thank you so much. Trying to make it look cool. Do I think that this would look good as a blanket? Josh, how you doing tonight? Oh, I'm gonna have a chat with my family. They're gonna yell at me while I'm live and slam doors. We're gonna have an issue. For people who like weighted blankets, yeah, I think they would like it. I would not like it. There is a, what do you call it? Okay, so my closures aren't perfect on this. This is, on my jewelry pieces, I spend a lot of time trying to make sure that all of the closures on every ring, where the ends of the ring butt up against each other, that is flush, okay? With this inlay, I'm going pretty fast. I'm not adjusting each ring to be perfect. I'm adjusting each ring to be good enough, right? Because it's an inlay. People might touch it, but no one's wearing it. It's not going to sit on their neck. You know what I mean? So if you use this particular piece as a blanket, you might find some pointy ends in it, right? And someone actually contacted me the other day about a blanket. They want to cover it up, which if I were to like make a weighted blanket out of chainmail, that is what I would do. So, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. If everyone could tap the screen and share the live, that puts me out on the FYP and gets more people in here. Fiber optic gives faster, more reliable speeds. That's why they're putting it everywhere. See, like, I understand that, but I thought, well, maybe my assumption is just wrong. I don't know. I'm irritated because we just had a big ordeal in our neighborhood with our HOA. Not a fan of them. And since I'm a disabled veteran, they have in their bylaws that my HOA fee gets waived. So that's cool, but we had to have an issue with them before we found that out. So I didn't get a notification that the HOA was having a meeting, the first meeting in 5 years, right? I was not informed at all. Apparently they sent out someone to put flyers in everybody's mailbox. So I didn't know about the meeting until like an hour before I was supposed to stream. I didn't go because I had a show to do, right? And I also wasn't notified. If the HOA is so important and needs me to pay them money, right? Why wouldn't they send out a notification like, hey, we're going to have a bunch of people who don't live in your neighborhood coming through in high-vis vests doing something to the front of your yard. You know, I guess people call it a parkway or a boulevard, or the portion of your yard that's between the sidewalk and the street. How long does the average blanket take to make? I can't answer that question, really, to be honest. I've never made a weighted blanket, right? I can weave rings at about 200 rings an hour. Okay? So, the size of the blanket is going to be dependent upon what ring size you use. So that's going to change up, like, how big your blanket is. I would want to use a fairly large ring size, because it doesn't have to be a super heavy, super dense weighted blanket, I would think. I don't know. But it would probably still take you, like, 30,000 rings to make a duvet-sized blanket. You didn't mean to interrupt the HOA story? No, that's fine. That's fine. Alright. If you guys don't mind, I want to run and grab a drink real quick. Should have yelled at my son to come down here while he was yelling at me. Hang on 2 seconds. All right. They say never leave the camera when you're streaming. I don't believe in that, but I'm getting so little done. I cruised around this whole piece, right? It's a little over 200 rings wide and 160 rings tall. So that's 400 for top and bottom, right? And then another 300 for each side. So that's like 1,500 rings. And I was cruising along and until I started streaming. Now I'm going slow as crap. Long time no talk. Yeah, I've been doing some yard work, and it's been 1,000 degrees here, and I did not have, like, when I went to go fix my fence post, I got a real bad sunburn on just like the back of my neck and my shoulders and everything, and I was just like out. So I'm much better now. But yeah, I wasn't able to stream or do anything really, or keep up like my normal content, you know. So I'm trying to get back into it. I still have a lot of stuff to do outside. I got a list somewhere. Gotta pressure wash the house. The front of my house almost never gets sun, so I gotta clean off some gunk. And then I've got to paint up front, so that's gonna be fun. Just the trim, essentially. Those are like the two, I don't know, they're not the only things I have to do outside, but those are the two big ones. So, got to get those done this summer. And I got to get them done in the summertime because Wisconsin is a frozen tundra wasteland 9 months out of the year. Right? Or at least it can be. And there's just a whole lot of time out of the year that you can't get anything done. Unless you want to freeze. I don't go outside of my house when it's less than 45 degrees. Okay? I try not to go out of my house if it's less than 65. Alright? And I know what you're thinking. Hey, that's like unrealistic. How do you get anything done? I mean, I do go outside if I have to. But if I don't have to, I got a fireplace right there to keep my basement warm. So I can just chill down here. And the basement stays a pretty steady temperature. It's like 65 down here most of the time. So I've no reason to do anything but sit down here and work on projects. And then if I have to go to the grocery store or run errands or take my kid to school, whatnot, I'll do that. But I try not to. If I go out, like, I'm doing stuff all day long, getting it done so I don't have to go back out again because it's so cold. So when it comes time to get stuff done outside, like, doesn't matter how hot it is, you just have to go out and get it done. Doesn't matter if you leave the mortal plane because of heat stroke, right? You got to get it done. The honey-do list is a unceasing, never-ending list of projects that, well, they got to get done. So that interrupted my streaming and kind of screwed me up there for a bit. But I got a fence post in. I built an 8-foot by 4-foot by 3-foot planter bed, and it's pretty cool. I like it. I gotta move the whole thing away from the fence, right? The 30 minutes after I got finished building this enormous planter bed, the wife said, "Hey, I want it away from the fence." Then she said it was my idea to move it away from the fence, so that because it's 4 feet wide, so she wants to plant on both sides, and it's 3 feet tall, so that she doesn't have to bend over too far. She can't work on the ground because of her back. So it's this empty planter bed that I got to fill up with 100 cubic feet of dirt. And I get to do that with a shovel and a trash can and a bucket. They've got free dirt over at the... Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Magenta RV, how you doing? Pepper Pig sound alike, how you doing? Where do I get my rings from? Lots of places. I can tell you all about that. Did you get your fence post fixed? I did. I got the fence post fixed. Pepper Pig, how you doing tonight? So, if you have an Android, there is a link to the Mailworks app in the link tree in my bio on TikTok, right? And inside the app is a list of suppliers. It's like 16 suppliers that I know of. These are from the Ring Lord. These are from the Ring Lord. These are from chainreaction.ca. And I don't have any other examples of other suppliers in reach. You're busy moving pea gravel and topsoil by wheelbarrow. Yeah. You know my pain. Okay, so the fence post removal. Did I finish my HOA story? I don't know if I did. Anyway, we got fiber optic halfway installed in the neighborhood today, right? I didn't know anything about it. I figured if the HOA was so important and knew so much stuff, they would tell me about it. But they didn't even tell me about the first meeting they'd had in 5 years. Screw them, right? So, the fence post. So the fence post... Oh, we got some comments. Do you have a web page version of the app? Apple could access that, same as Android. I do not. Nice. I like the Ring Lord. How's it shipping today from Canada to USA? I'm trying to think. It wasn't terrible. Like, it wasn't off-putting to me. I don't think it was cheap. Mad Fox Metals, how you doing? If you guys like enormous chainmail pieces, you should go follow Mad Fox Metals. He made this piece out of enormous chainmail rings. What is it, a 4-inch diameter? It's cool. A web-page version of the app. That actually, I should just move to that. I should just move to that for everyone. What do they call those? A progressive web app. Yeah. I need to move to that, actually. I need to write that down. My list is covered in rings that I have to organize. Oh, this can all just go in a pile. I don't care about this. I mean, I do care about this, but... Hang on. That will actually solve some issues of mine. Okay, there we go. There we go. Move to progressive web app. That's Magenta RV. I could kiss you. That is who said that, right? It's like 4 gauge. Yeah, Magenta RV. I could kiss you right now. That's an excellent thing that I should do. That's a mess. Let's leave that there. Okay. Where are we at? Mad Fox Metals is doing good. Hello, thanks for the invite, Greenwood. Craft Tracy, I didn't invite anybody. Thanks for the follow, though. Okay, so 2.5-inch diameter. Johnny Danger, how you doing, buddy? Yeah. 4 gauge, 2.5-inch rings. It's a cool piece. I was instantly surprised, impressed, flabbergasted. My breath was taken away when I saw it. I was like, that's awesome. I wish I was as cool as that guy. So give Mad Fox Metals a follow. He doing some cool stuff with metal. You have to make a video with you dragging around the yards? Heck yeah. You'll be doing a baby project compared to that? You're very welcome. I like other chainmail artists, and I like shouting them out. Because too many people ask me to make stuff for them, and it's like, I'm trying to finish up all my old projects. This is like a 19-year-old project, so I'm trying to get rid of it. Not get rid of it, trying to finish it. Get it out of my way and like up on the wall. Your husband is shocked the inlay has taken you 20 years. He's impressed. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like 20 years continuous or anything, but it was... I did start it in like 2005, 2006, something like that. And then... Okay, so... This is the image I'm working off of. This doesn't translate to how many rings you need, and it doesn't tell you where each ring goes, right? So everything was, like, I was just designing it as I went along. And when I first started, like, I was okay at chainmail to begin with, but doing all of these curves and all of, the loops around everything and the lettering and all that crap, right? All of that, freehanding all of that, was a terrible idea. And I thought, in my braggadocious way, I was like, oh, I've freehanded all of my other inlays. I can do this one too. And no, I could not. So, it just, also, a lot of times what happened, because of the fact that I couldn't, like, grind my way through this, I put it down. I walked away. I was like, screw it, I'll just leave it there for forever, right? So, but last year, 2 years ago, I finished up my Raiders flag inlay for a buddy of mine. And that was a grind. That was same as this. 2 rings forward, 3 rings back the whole way through. And I did it all on stream. And I eventually got that one done. And so that made me realize, like, hey, if I just put hours into this, it will be finished, So, and we're almost, all the design is done. I know pretty much everything I'm going to do. I know how to do everything to finish this up, and then thanks for the follow, I appreciate it. It'll go up on the wall, and we will move on to the next project, which is the giant ringception cube. So, that one's a pain because all of the black and stainless rings I ordered for it, here, all of these, like, I have 27,000 of these rings, right? All of them are out of round, and I have to adjust each one at a time. It's awesome. It's not a colossal waste of time at all. But I'll get that done. This has taken me an additional month. I thought that I would be done with this by the end of May. And here we are well into June. I'm about to run out of rings again. But I should be mostly finished by the end of June. I'll order some more rings here pretty quick. So, we'll get it done. We will get it done. It's not like there's a timeline on this or anything. It's not a rush job. So, yeah. Oh, the fence post. Let's go back to the fence post. I gotta tell you guys this story. So, my fence was built by Yutka Fence Company. We had a dog. We have dogs. We needed a fence in our backyard. Got it done by Yucca Fence Company. Okay? Not cheap. It's 6-foot posts. They're 8-foot beams, but they're 10-foot beams, 6 feet above the ground, right? 42 inches below. 42 inches, the first 6 inches is dirt. And then the next 36 inches is beam and concrete. So I got to dig out the top of the fence post and then dig out the concrete, right? And I only got down about 30 inches. So there's still like another foot to go. And the beam itself originally broke off like right at ground level. So I had this, 1.5 foot of beam sticking up out of the ground. And yeah, let's see here. What did I do? I screwed up here. That's what I did. I cut the beam. I rented a jackhammer to get rid of all the concrete, right? And then I lit the beam on fire twice, 2 days in a row. And then I took an angle grinder to get that last little bit of beam out of the way so that I could set the new beam in. And the new beam in, it only goes in like 30 inches. It's not the 42 inches. So, and I'm okay with that. I put some concrete on it and I called it a day. It was absurd. It's a ridiculous amount of work. I could not get my truck back to the backyard. There's an easement behind my property and I've got a big gate that I can drive my truck through, but my neighbor's trees are like down so far over the easement now that I can't get my truck through there. I used to be able to. And I've had him look at it and I'm like, I used to drive through here, dude. That tree's going to come down on your fence. So it's just a matter of time. But he thinks he's fine. Okay. He may be right. I don't know. The tree may just sit at windshield height on my truck for forever. We'll see. All right. So I couldn't get my truck back there. All I had was my lawnmower. And the lawnmower was not pulling 36 inches of concrete out of the ground. It did a very good job. But it was not... It's not heavy enough and it's not powerful enough, right? So, rented the jackhammer, got all the concrete out, lit the beam on fire, burned it down, and then angle grinded it out so that I could put the new beam in. And my favorite part is that the new beam is not a rough cut 4x4, it's a treated lumber 4x4. So it's 3.5 inches instead of 4 inches on each side. And it's noticeably different. That was like last week and into the beginning of this week dealing with that fence post. But the fence post is now fixed. And we get 70-mile-an-hour winds in our backyard, especially when it's storming. Like, specifically when it's storming. We're in tornado area. Knock on wood. So, that's what originally broke the fence post. Or it could have just been, okay, here's another thing too, right? Why this beam wouldn't burn. I told you the beam broke off like at ground level, and then all the wood that was encasing concrete had just been absorbing water for the last 6-8 months that it's been broken. It was essentially just rotting, right? And so once I used the jackhammer to get the concrete all out of the way, there was nothing to like burn because it was all wet, and I couldn't get a strap around the beam to pull it out of the ground because it would just slide off because like the outside of the beam was slick, and it was, oh man, that was the worst part. Like I'm throwing like, what do you call that, Kingsford starter fluid. I'm like soaking it in starter fluid. I'm afraid I'm going to light the rest of the fence on fire. I'm throwing barbecue briquettes down there. Like, I got the bag of briquettes and I'm just dumping it in there, lighting on a fire, trying to cook this beam to dry it out so that it can burn away. It was ridiculous. But I got it done. So between that, well, I'm trying to think what else I have to do in the backyard. Not much else. There's no shade back there. So that is the worst, right? I did have to get my little canopy set up out to protect me because I got like a really bad sunburn. But other than that, I don't think I have anything else to do in the backyard for the most part. Fill up the giant planter bed with dirt. It's up. What is it? 100 cubic feet of dirt to fill it up. 96 cubic feet of dirt. So I get to do that all by hand. That's going to be fun. But the planter bed isn't going to get used until next year. So I've got a year or like 10 months to do that. So that one I'm not too worried about. And then, like I mentioned earlier, I got a bunch of stuff. I got to pressure wash the front of the house and paint some stuff, and all while trying to stream and get chainmail pieces done and whatnot, you know. It's like this is, when I did the math on this inlay, it was 29,000 some odd rings. And I've added another 1,500 just today. So I think I have probably 2,000 to 3,000 more rings to go between the loops across the top and the dags across the bottom. And like I'm out of black rings. This is almost empty. I've got a whole other bag of bright aluminum. And then this is all that remains of the yellow. The yellow used to fill up a coffee can. I don't have one in reach. But like most of the yellow got used. I'm pretty happy with it. I posted pictures of like progress pics in in a few of the chainmail groups I'm in. And the yellow used to be like this pale gold, and it was really hard to see the silver against the pale gold, right? So I'm very glad that I changed out the pale gold for the yellow color I have now. And I'm glad, really glad, that I outlined everything in black on this, because now you can actually see it. It's like, it's this green outline and then this silver goldish blur thing. It's much better looking now. Thanks for the share. Appreciate you. And thank you for the follow. And do I have it over here? Yeah, okay. This is, these are the green rings I ordered. They're like an olive green, the green on the inlay is like a forest green. And I know on TikTok here, it looks like a mint green. They're like an olive something. But they're very different than the green I have on this inlay. And I stressed for a really long time that I was going to run out of green rings. And then not be able to fill in the corners and everything. But I was able to use up all the rest of the rings in the corners, and now it looks super cool. So I'm honestly pretty happy. Your wife insisted you put extra dirt in her raised beds because she said they settle a lot. Lo and behold, she was right. You mounted them, and they're now a couple inches from the top. Right on. Yeah. Okay, so this is garden number 3 for our house. Okay. Garden number 1 was ripped out and replaced with a shed. Garden number 2 was a bunk bed that I had put some beams across the bottom and kind of boarded up the sides a little bit. And the bottom eventually fell out. It rotted away. So I still have like these 2 bunk beds that I was trying to make into planter beds in my backyard that I have to get rid of. That is another thing I have to do. Kevin, how you doing? And then now this is like once I move it to where my wife wants, this 8 foot by 4 foot by 3 foot monstrosity, and fill it up with dirt, it's a permanent fix. It will never move. I will never take it down. It's one of those things that if it breaks, I'm just going to leave it there. And when I pass this house on to someone else, they will have to deal with it. But no, it's pretty solid, so I'm not worried about it. Oh, here's the thing with the freaking wow, there is a long lag. Oh, yeah. That's not good. On Twitch. Kevin, I'm doing pretty good. I got my butt kicked by having to work outside in the heat this week, but we're streaming the night and trying to get back into the swing of things. So I went to Menards, and I asked them for the timber that I needed in the dimensions that I needed. I was trying to get some cedar beams. I thought lumber prices had come down. I was under the impression that building supplies were like low right now. This guy hands me a ticket for $748 for 9 2x12 by 8. So 2 inches wide, 12 inches high, 8 feet long. I need 9 of them. $748. I was like, oh, well, that's unreasonable. I'm just gonna go get some treated lumber, and I think I spent like $500 on the whole thing. Right? The treated lumber was like $260. The corners were $210, $220, something like that. And they're like retaining wall bricks, which are really cool. Couple of pieces of rebar, right? So $500 for one planter bed. The treated lumber will last for 10 years, okay? So if I have to tear out the sides of this planter bed, right? If I got to rip up the boards because they're like rotting or something, I can do that 3 times in today's prices because before it will cost me as much as it would to have just put cedar in. So if I do it 3 times, 10 years every time, so it'll last 10 years, do it 3 times, 30 years from now, I'll pay $748 total as opposed to today. You know what I mean? Yeah, stuff's crazy. It's just going to get worse, yeah. TW, how you doing? Opine, it has, but all else is still high as hell. Yeah, that makes sense. Honestly. And I'm not going to use pine for an outdoor project. Treated lumber isn't great. Cedar would have been better and better looking, but at $748, like, I'm not poor. I'm not cedar rich. You're doing good? That's good to hear. Like, I'm not in poverty. I'm not, gonna go live on the street here next week, knock on wood, I'm good. I'm got a house, got a place to live, got a car, it's paid off. I don't have $748 for cedar planking to make my backyard look pretty. Best way to start to learn chainmail cheap? G-String, how you doing? Are you on Apple or Android? Because that will make a difference. And I know what you're thinking. Why would the type of phone I use matter? It's because the MailWorks app is down for Apple right now. You're on Apple? Okay, dang it. Okay. Two places on the internet to get started, right? And it's going to require a lot of autodidactic behavior from you, like self-learning, like what do I want to know, and then put it in the search bar. The Chainmail, the group Chainmail, CHAIN space MAILLE, over on Facebook, right? That group. Plenty of chainmail artists hang out there. There's a ton of information in that group. If you go to the files section, you'll find like websites and resources and tutorials and stuff like that. You have a PC. Yeah, we were just talking about moving the MailWorks app over to a progressive web app so that you can not need Apple or Android. And I'm very, like, I should have done that a long time ago. I wasn't even thinking about it. But the app, the MailWorks app, is not available as a progressive web app right now. But I'm going to try and fix that, actually. So the other place to go is chainmailers.com. That is a forum. The admin there is very knowledgeable. He creates a lot of tutorials and like these cool three-dimensional images to go over different weaves and stuff. Nice rings. Thanks, babe. Yeah, those two groups is where I would get started. There may be other groups that would be better. I don't know. And then as far as like tools and starter kits, okay, no, not that. Any tool any pair of pliers in your junk drawer, right? You don't need special tools to get started. Okay? But a good kit is the Chainmail Joe. It's Chainmail, ChainMailJoe.com. They have a starter kit. Comes with a bunch of different colors of anodized aluminum. Comes in a pretty box. And it's got a tutorial guide on there. Or in the box. Thanks for the lightning, babe. Appreciate you. See, all of that is available in the MailWorks app, which is why I built it. But Apple is on the back end. Google too, but Apple's worse. On the back end, they're not. I'm tired of dealing with them. So, anyway, I will have Apple. I will have access for people who have Apple products back up soon. Just not right now. I hope that helps. How close am I to getting this done? We'll see. Hannah, how you doing? Yeah, so like there are a ton of resources in the chainmail community, and that's why I built the app, so that it's just like point people there and then they can go and explore and everything. You're doing good? Right on. Right on. We're doing pretty good here. Getting this long-term project done. Slowly but surely. And and here's the thing too, right? I'm an admin in a chainmail group on Facebook, but that's not the one that I recommended, right? Because there is a chainmail group that has a it's more in line with new chainmail artists than the group that I help admin, right? Like, you definitely want to join both. But if you're starting out, the big chainmail group over on Facebook is the one to join. And honestly, the other group that I admin for, I just help out. I just vet people and take care of any reports. Twitch isn't doing well. Yeah, I'm getting some, I'm seeing some, what do you call it? Drop frames going on. Which we are hardwired in, so I don't know why that would happen. I can. How you doing, Chuck? So, this is what I worked off of. It says Finnegans Wake, and this is what we got. All the corners are done. We're putting a border, a black border around it, and then gonna add some loops across the top and some dags across the bottom, and it's getting heavy. All right, where's that working? This corner over here. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Awesome, bro. Thank you. Yeah, I got this little section right here, and then the border's done. And then the little triangular pieces across the bottom and loops across the top. And a leather backing. And I got to cut and stain the dowel rod and get decorative wall hooks for it. And then it's going up on the wall, out of my way. And we will move on to a different project that has been sitting around for forever. So, I don't, actually, no, we're not moving on to a different project that has been sitting around for forever. I've got the Ringception Jelly Cube I'm working on that is going to take 2 months. I've already got the bulk of it done. But to adjust all of the 27,000 blackened stainless rings that I ordered because they're out of round, and I'm not sure how to fix that with the manufacturer, that by itself is going to take a month. And then which I'm not keen on, but it is what it is. So hopefully I will have that. And then to put it all together, I don't think that'll take as long. So we'll see. I bet it'll feel great to finally have this product done. It does. It feels great just to persevere through the design. Okay? Because, like I mentioned, like I freehanded all of this. I don't have a design template for it, which I should have done. It would have saved me years. Okay? And so, grinding out a project like this, it's a character building exercise. So now I have a ton of character. So, yeah. I'm glad it's done. It looks great. I'm happy with the changes I've made. I'm happy with how it turned out. It sucks that the bar that I originally designed it for is no longer here, but someone was concerned that because of its weight, it might pull itself apart if I try to hang it up on the wall. And it is heavy. I think it'll be okay. So that's going to be a fun thing to try out. I don't want it to tear itself apart, but also it's like, if it does, I'll bolster it with steel. I don't know. Don't know. I don't think it's going to fall apart. I made the Raiders flag with loops on it to hold itself up. It was much smaller, but, you know. We'll see. We'll find out. If it ends up being too heavy, you could put a few random stitches through the middle and such. Yeah, especially with like the leather behind it. Like just sew it all around. Just punch a hole here, there, and we'll see. Like putting a belt on with a chainmail shirt to keep the weight off your shoulders. That's a thing, right? If you're wearing a chainmail shirt and it's too heavy and it hurts your back and neck, put a belt on. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Interesting, yeah. So those chainmail shirts get nuts. They're very expensive. They're not very, well, I mean, some of them can be expensive. They're very heavy. Heavy is the word I was looking for just then. Not expensive. But I know words. I know lots of words. I get the best words. Yeah. And it was heavy that I was looking for. So you put the belt on, and then it focuses the weight on your hips instead of on your shoulders, and it just kind of... Your shirt's 16 pounds. I don't know how much mine are. I've never had an opportunity to weigh them. I would need to buy like a scale. My kitchen scale is not big enough to weigh my chainmail shirts. My first shirt is ridiculously heavy. 14 gauge, 3/8 galvanized steel in European 6-in-1. Lesson learned on that. Don't make European 6-in-1 into a shirt. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult, and I wasn't good enough at the time to make the shirt. And so it's just kind of this pile of galvanized steel that I have that sits out in a Foot Locker in my shed, taking up space. I am going to try and rehab it a little bit. It's like, okay, people have when you get chainmail rings from the manufacturer, materials like anodized titanium or anodized aluminum, right? You just want to wash those to wash any manufacturing oils off of the supplies. And some manufacturers are cleaner than others, right? But usually we use a tumbler, like a rock tumbler or a brass tumbler for firearms, right? I've got what's lovingly called a FART, a Franklin Arsenal rotary tumbler, and it's for brass ammo, and it works great, right? But you can tumble all kinds of small pieces in it. I can't tumble a shirt in it, right? It's only like a half-gallon container. So I pondered for a long time, it's like, how am I going to go about making a giant tumbler to tumble some of these shirts that I have? I've got 3 chainmail shirts out of stainless steel. So I'm like, you know what? I saw another creator on TikTok use a Harbor Freight concrete mixer. They're like $300, right? Which, if I want to tumble my chainmail shirts, $300 seems really reasonable, as opposed to like investing time and energy into getting a little engine to spin a barrel, you know. Anyway, so I saw another creator on TikTok use a Harbor Freight concrete mixer to tumble parts for his shop. He makes like rocket stoves. I was like, you know what? That would be perfect. That is actually the perfect thing to throw a chainmail shirt into and spin it around. So, got this galvanized steel chainmail shirt in my shed. I'm going to strip the galvy off of it, so place it in some vinegar. Vinegar will remove the zinc off of it. And then throw it in the concrete mixer, right? So once it's out of the vinegar, it'll just be mild steel, right? Which rusts really easily, but you know, rub some Crisco on it, or they work very well. You suggest the investment? Yeah. Does it dull the rings? It should polish them. Should work exactly like a tumbler. Do I buy pre-cut rings? All the time. Seminole fan, how you doing? I started out making my own rings, but I made really crappy rings and really crappy stuff out of it. And so I buy all my stuff. I am planning on having a coiling and cutting setup by the end of this year, as well as a number of other tools for down here in the basement, but I'm not there yet. So I hand coiled and cut thousands of rings, and they were garbage. So once I found the Ring Lord back in 2004, 2005, which is where these rings are from, I was like, you know what? I want to make stuff. I don't want to focus on making my own rings. And so since 2004, 2005-ish, for the last 20 years, I've ordered from different chainmail suppliers. They make a higher quality of ring than what I could make at home at the time. Now, I've been doing this for 28 years. I kind of know a little bit about what I'm doing, so I'm adding a coiling and cutting setup here at the house. I'm not going to anodize aluminum at my home, but during those 20 years, I was like, my job is to weave rings. It's not to make rings, right? So that's why I buy most of my stuff. I know plenty of people that coil and cut their own rings, and they make all kinds of cool stuff. And with some of the projects that I have that are 30, 40, 50, 100,000 rings planned that are coming up, I need to be able to make my own rings. So there are multiple chainmail ring suppliers now. And each supplier is a little different, but they're all mostly good. And yeah. I expect more to pop up as time goes on and as the chainmail community gets bigger. Speaking of the words chainmail community, I made a video where I mentioned the chainmail community, and people were like, holy crap, that's a thing? That wasn't the most prominent comment in that section, but was like, yeah, it's a hobby. People get together and make this stuff and talk about it online, just like anything else, right? And how much does a chainmail shirt usually run? It doesn't matter how tight the rings run together. It absolutely matters how tight the rings run together, because the denser the weave, the more rings it's going to take, the more time spent weaving, and, like, the more difficult. I don't know how much for a chainmail shirt. All right, so, like, if I was to do a shirt, right? My hourly rate, let's just say it's like $20, and I need a shirt made from 16,000 rings, right? So, and I weave at a rate of about 200 rings an hour. So, 16,000 divided by 200 times 20. Whatever that number is, it's probably in the ballpark of what a handmade chainmail shirt should, like, start at. But I don't have my calculator up. Hang on. Calculator. 16 divided by 200 times 20. $1,600, yeah. That is a base level, okay? I know chainmail artists who charge $20,000 for a shirt. And that's not necessarily they're pricing you out of the market, right? Like, they don't want to make the shirt, so they're like, I'll make one for 20 grand, but that's the only way I'm making it, right? That's why most people just make their own, or buy a cheap mock-up from AliExpress or India or something. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of dropped frames. This is crazy. So I hardwired my computer in to the internet, and I'm getting dropped frames. I wonder... Oh, you know what? I mean, we did just have a bunch of people digging in our neighborhood to put in those fiber optic cables. That's going to be annoying if that is what's causing this. Anyway. Yeah. Now, I could definitely see plenty of chainmail shirts being worth 20 grand. Like, I could think of it, right? All the rings welded or riveted, all of them stamped with the design on them, right? Yeah, I could do a $20,000 chainmail shirt, make it out of silver. Now we're talking like $30,000 chainmail shirt, right? So there's some ways to make some really cool shirt designs, because it's custom one-off work, or it can be. But most of the time, people just make a European 4-in-1 chainmail shirt from galvanized steel or aluminum that they get from Home Depot in the electric fence wire section. You know, chainmail's labor intensive and takes hours, right? So people want to get paid for their labor. So it's not cheap. So I told someone asked me, like, "Oh, what would you charge for a cube this big?" This is half the size I want to make. Well, no. That's not the right way to put it. This is at almost 4 inches on each side, right? I want to get it to 5 inches. There's like 22,000 rings in it right now. To get it to 5 inches, it's going to be like 44,000 rings. So the number of rings has to double, right? But it'll only go an inch on 3 sides. It'll be slightly larger, right? Someone asked me how much I would charge for this, and I would charge $4 to $5 grand as it sits right now, just because I have so much time into it, right? And they like did the math, and they told me, oh, you know, I think your prices are too high. No one's gonna buy it at that. It's like, well, it's not for sale because it's like a personal project for me, for starters. That's so cool. Yeah, cubes are awesome. Like, if you ever like make yourself a chainmail shirt, learn how to make a cube. They're fun. There's a ton of stuff in chainmail that you can make that are, it's just awesome. Like monkey fists. Yeah, I'm gonna raffle a cube. But yeah, so if I were to ever sell that cube, like as it is right now, $4 to $5 grand. If someone walked up to me with the money, I probably wouldn't sell it. But if they had cash in hand, I don't know that I'd say no. Right? When it's done and there's 44,500 rings in it, and I've spent 300 to 400 hours on it, yeah, no, I'm not parting with it for anything less than like 10 grand. Right? Xander just made your first cube today. Congratulations. Seminole fan, I'm working on a chainmail inlay that I started like 19 years ago. 20 years ago, something like that. It was of a bar in Alexandria, Louisiana, and I used to go there to get away from the barracks where I lived with the same people I worked with while I was in the Army. And it was originally intended to be like, oh, hey, hang this up on your wall. But I didn't have the skills to finish it when I started it. I know a lot more now. And so lately I've just been grinding through this piece. That would be an awesome D6. Yeah, right on. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Alright, that is not the last ring I need to add. Hang on. Alright, the number of rings. Is that it? Yay! I had 1 ring left. We can put that back. Let me hold this up for you. Now you want to make a set of D&D dice out of chainmail? You should. Make a set of D&D dice. So anyway, it says Finnegans Wake on it, and I had to freehand all the lettering and the knotwork and everything. And I just got done doing the border. Border's all done. All the corners are done. We got to add some loops across the top and some triangle dags across the bottom. For 4 pounds, that really hurts my neck. Oh my god. That didn't feel good. So, anyway. What's going on with this? That's bad ring. Alright. Where are we at here? Okay. That looks amazing. Thank you. Alita, how are you? Louie, you're back. What's going on? What's going on? Alright, guys. It is a little past 10 o'clock. Past my bedtime. Alright. Like I mentioned, I'm in the middle of trying to get a bunch of yard work and crap done. I only get a few months out of the year to like clean up my house and everything because Wisconsin becomes a frozen wasteland during the winter. Excuse me. So I'm going to try to get back to regular streaming. Normally I'm on here 8:30 to 10 most nights of the week, but I got my butt kicked by the heat and by the projects I had outside this week, so I was like taking it easy, right? If you're interested in starting your lucrative chainmail hobby, and you have an Android, in the link tree in my bio is the Mailworks app. It has all the resources I would have wanted when I first got started making chainmail many years ago. If you have Apple phone, the Apple app is down right now. We just talked earlier tonight about making everything a progressive web app. So I'm going to look into that and see if we can do it so that we don't have this problem anymore, right? If you like chainmail and you'd like to rock chainmail themed apparel and accessories, go check out mailworks.com. That's my website. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories. And I got a lot of cool designs up, like giant chainmail snug hoodies and jerseys. And it's not just like European 4-in-1. We got some dragon scale on there. We got some hoodoo hex. Going to come out with more designs and more weaves as time goes on. I do have to make some more designs for it, but it's a lot of fun, a lot of cool clothing. You won't find it anywhere else. Go check out mailworks.com. Please go follow me in my link tree in my bio is all my socials. Go follow me on all the other platforms. I would greatly appreciate it. TikTok's been very kind to me, but all my other socials are lacking. So if you could help me catch up, that'd be great. With that, like I said, probably not going to be on tomorrow night just because I got a big day tomorrow. And I will try to get on here through the weekend. And we'll get back to a regular streaming schedule as soon as I get all my honeydews done. Alrighty? You all have a wonderful evening. I'm going to get out of here. We're going to continue to work on this inlay as time goes on. It's almost done. We got a lot more projects in the list that we got to finish for the end of the year. You're all wonderful people. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Oh, last thing. If you want to go to mailworks.com and purchase something, use discount code LIVESTREAM to get 20% off whatever you order. That's my way of saying thanks to everyone who's hung out here, right? So go find something you like at mailworks.com. Use discount code LIVESTREAM, all one word, lowercase, and get 20% off your entire order. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. You all have a wonderful evening. I'm going to get out of here. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.